You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We here once again, and today we have another special show for y'all. Man, we're going to be talking to Joe James. That name sounds familiar? Yeah, he was featured on season 17 of The Voice, and we're going to be learning about all his great stuff. He has a new project coming out July 9th called Street Lights. And man, first and foremost, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing good. I'm doing good today. It's hot here in
Texas.
Austin, Texas, but it's all right.
Yeah, man. So you're from Austin, Texas, singer-songwriter. And you're doing some cool stuff, man. You're doing some soul, R&B, and funk with some elements of blues. Man, tell the audience a little bit about yourself before we talk about this project.
Yeah, sure, man. Well, I grew up in a musical family. I grew up in the church, my dad being a pastor. And so music was always a thing for me. It's like second nature. It also was kind of a safe place for me. But yeah, so I've gravitated towards music, earlier on in my life, and it's just been kind of a thing that has developed and grown, and a passion that has grown into what it is today, and what I feel like is more of a calling and a ministry for me to play music and heal with it, and kind of reach people that are broken or that need that hope. And so I kind of use music in that sense today.
Oh, that's dope, man. Now, when you decided that music is something that you were interested in, who were some of the people that were your source of inspiration?
Oh, man. Well, probably my dad first, because my dad is a musician. So just watching him play was, kind of a huge inspiration for me. But so my dad comes from like the more rock and roll side. So he would have, like Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and the Beatles and, stuff like that. But then my mom was more of like oldies and Motown. So I got like a mixture of that, like both worlds combined together. So like people like Stevie Wonder and Jackson 5 and Supreme, Smokey Robinson, stuff like that from my mom's side. So I got like the best of both worlds in that sense.
And once again, man, we're talking to Joe James. You go to his website, joejamesmusic.com. And like we kind of said earlier on in the show, man, he was on season 17 of The Voice. And man, we gotta talk about that, man. What was the decision like? Well, not like, but what was the starting point of you making the decision that you wanted to try out on The Voice?
So it was actually my wife that kind of nudged me to do it. I had auditioned previously, maybe like a few years prior to season 17 when I was on it. And I remember I really just didn't know who I was as an artist or as a person. I was just kind of finding myself in this whole musical circus, and so I remember auditioning then, and I got called to a private audition, and it didn't go very well, and they could tell right away that I didn't know who the heck I was, musically, and I didn't at that time, and I'll admit that. But then I hit the road and I started touring with a band called The Dirty Good, and we played all over, and I kind of grew my stage legs and found who I wanted to be as an artist, and so then I got this email again in probably mid 2018, and it was from the voice casting. So I didn't think nothing of it at that point. I was doing my solo stuff. I was like completely just immersed with like the Austin scene and just having a really good time performing. And I didn't think twice to even do it. But my wife was like, why don't you do it? It'll be a good opportunity. And I was like, I don't know. And it was a private audition for the casting. So she kind of pushed me to do that. And I was like, oh, screw it. Fine, I'll do it. So I went, and literally, I think I had a gig like the night before, and I was so tired. I went in and I like had sunglasses on. They're like, "Sir, can you take your sunglasses off?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I'm so tired." But I took them off and I did my few songs and they loved it. And so they sent me out to LA. And I auditioned for the producers, and then it was the long road to blind auditions.
And what was that like going through your mind? Because, I mean, not only you going to be seen on TV, but, you know, everybody's going to know the results. What was going through your mind when you had this opportunity to, like, man, I can actually be on stage and get to hear from John Legend, though?
Right. So it didn't really, it didn't hit me until literally maybe like a few minutes before the doors opened and I was going to go onto the voice stage. Cause I didn't really, I still don't see people as like celebrities and stuff like that. I never placed them in that, you know, on that horse, or on that pedestal. But I remember like just trying to get work done, put my work in to try to get this song together. And I remember, I really didn't have that in my mind. Like millions of people are going to watch the show, like John Legend, Gwen Stefani, Kelly Clarkson, Blake Shelton. They're all going to be right there. It's going to be weird. It's going to be crazy. I didn't think that until like they were preparing me to walk through the doors to a live audience and with those chairs and on the voice stage. And then I was like, oh my goodness, like, wow, like millions of people are going to watch this. And like the emotions and the my nerves started really hitting me at that point. And I had to kind of like get it together. It's surreal. It's a TV produced world. And so you're in this like universal backlot, like movies world type of, and it's really, really cool, but it's also like kind of stressful at that point. Cause I mean, this is a TV show that's been on the air forever. Who knows how many Emmys, like they're a well-oiled machine. You're there for that little time, that you're on for your season. And so, but they got their stuff together and they're quick and they're fast. And so you're thrown into this like TV land world, which is kind of crazy, but really exciting at the same time. One of my favorite parts is just being on like the back lot of Universal and filming on the back lot and filming in all the sound stages and hair and makeup and wardrobe. You felt kind of like a movie star.
And when you had the opportunity, because every person that gets the honor to be on that show, they get good feedback that most people don't just get from everyday, mentors and whatnot. What was some of the feedback that you really took to heart when the judges gave their input?
So at that point, I mean, I remember John Legend saying about the song choice for me. But the thing is, and I think what a lot of people don't know is that I didn't pick my song. They picked the producers and stuff picked the song for you. So I didn't pick my song. I probably should have exchanged my song because I think I could have picked something that would have suited me better. So that was the only feedback. The other feedback wasn't really aired. And that feedback was more along the lines of like, we don't have any more room on our team, or we would have picked you. And, cause I went on the last day of filming. So they do 4 days of filming. And then like, if you're on the last day, like they're being super picky with who they pick for artists that'll be on their team. So, I was on the last day, unfortunately. But yeah, that was one of the things. So I think if I ever did it again, if I got a song I really couldn't sit with or relate to or bring me to, I would just exchange it at the beginning of the process instead of just trying to make it work for myself.
And once again, we listen to I'm Focus Radio, talking to Joe James, based in Austin, Texas. Man, I mean, the voice is the voice. I mean, it's like American Idol, all the other great contest shows.
Yeah.
It's like every year is a big deal. So many people are watching, so many people are picking their, favorite person from the beginning and seeing who, almost like March Madness, see who's going to last. But
Yeah.
with that experience underneath your belt, what was life like afterwards? I mean, how did people react in your hometown, and how was that for you?
It was weird, to be honest, because I mean, you're in this, like, the Voice bubble with the Voice family for, a month and a half or 2 months of just filming, and you're just in this little world, and then all of a sudden you're forced back to your hometown, and that in itself is a little bit of, it is mind altering. Like, it's kind of weird, to try to adjust back into like normal life. Because to be honest, I got so used to getting my hair and makeup done and people putting clothes on me. But like you get into this like weird, you're in this weird bubble, and then you're thrown out of it, and you got to get used to that. But like the people, I noticed a lot of people started coming out to my shows specifically from my time on The Voice, and my episode that aired, and they were coming out because they saw me. So it was like, it was really cool to see what an impact just that little moment in time had,
And some of the other contestants on the show, were you able to make friends with some of them and keep in touch with them?
Oh yeah, man. That if I'm being honest, that's the best part. Like, the best part for me and a lot of us, you probably ask anyone who's on the show, is the friendships you make on that show are just, they last a lifetime, because you go through something that not a lot of people really go through. You're like the few chosen ones for that, for that season, and you got to fight for that spot to even get onto the blinds. They cut it down from some crazy number of like 80,000 to maybe 80 people to audition for the blinds. So you become like really good friends with these folks, and like still today I have a lot of buddies that I keep in contact with, and we play shows together, and we're like a little Voice, extended Voice family. It's really cool. That's the one of the things I really, really enjoyed was the friendships.
We're talking to Joe James, based in Austin, Texas. And speeding up a little bit, when you started to get back into the groove, right? Mm-hmm. Post The Voice show, what was the creative process like for you? What was some of your short-term goals that you were hoping that you would do now that you're kind of back to just getting back into the studio? Sure.
I mean, the main goal for me has mostly just been to be creative and let music kind of help people. And if I could touch people with my songs and have them relate to my songs and speak to them, that's kind of what it's always been about for me personally. So when I jumped back out, I just started writing songs like I usually do, but took some of my experiences from my time on The Voice. And then my wife battles with the disease called ulcerative colitis. And so she got sick right after that time. And so I started writing, and my writing process was geared towards her, what we were going through at that time. And so I ended up releasing an album in 2020 called Back Home, and that deals with our time, that dealing with what she was going through and what we were going through during her time of being really ill with ulcerative colitis. And it's a really soulful album that kind of speaks to a lot of things more than what we were going through. It's just kind of a thing of like being there for each other and not knowing when someone's time is up on this earth, and to love each other and to be good to each other and it's in remember each other and embrace each other. So it's kind of like one of those things. And during a time where we were all locked up and didn't, weren't able to see each other. So I was kind of hesitant on releasing that album in 2020, but I just felt like it would have been it. I couldn't have released it any other time or at a better time than that. And it was really well received in that time as well. So it worked together perfectly.
And a little bit later, speeding up to post COVID, I mean, hopefully we're in the light at the end of the tunnel because of the vaccines and everyone starting to be safe and things are slowly opening up back again. Yeah. You started the project Streetlights, which is going to be released in July 9th. Tell us the backstory of that project and what it's all about.
Yeah, so I'm releasing 2 singles this summer, and I decided to just stick with like easy peasy 2 singles, and then I think next year I'll work on a full length album. But like I have Streetlights that'll be coming out. That's the first single that'll be coming out in July 9th, like you said. And it just kind of reflecting on this past year. And I mean, it was like a dark year in so many ways. And I know for me personally, I've it affected like my mental health and I battle with mental health and depression and stuff like that. And I know for a lot of people, it did the same. And so this song kind of talks about walking through, the darkness and the valley of the shadow of death, if you want to call it, and trying to find and hold on to like glimmers of hope. So it's like giving a message of hope and knowing that we'll get through and not to fear the evil all around, but know that there's a light that can pierce through that darkness, and it's new every morning. And so just hold on and keep pushing through, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and just to keep holding on. So that's kind of the message, and the streetlights are a metaphor for the glimmers of hope as you're walking through the darkness, and you're holding on to those and just waiting for those to shut off in the sunshine to come out, because it does come out eventually. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it's going to, and it feels like the night's just going to keep, going on and on and on, but that's not true. Eventually the sun will shine again.
And was talking to Joe James right here on Army Focus Radio. And I like what you're talking about, because I'm getting a sense of, you're saying, despite the struggle, despite the hardship of life, you got to make that choice. Am I going to go, or am I going to just settle? Am I just going to give up? How important is that for you personally, to have that kind of mindset that you're always going to push yourself forward no matter what happens?
It's extremely important, because I know a lot of people, they feel like it's hopeless, like the light's never going to shine again. I was in my shows, I always talk about, that when you're in the middle of a storm, it feels like that storm is never going to end. But the storm does end, and those gray clouds go away and the sun shines again. But you have to make it through that storm to see that beautiful sky and that beautiful sun, so don't jump out of the boat, keep going, because the storm is going to end. And so like, that's the message, is like, you just got to keep pushing forward, even though I know for me, there's been times where I just felt like, I like nothing's going to change, but eventually it does change, but you got to make it through that hump. You got to make it through the darkness, and you got to know that the sun in the morning is gonna come, and it will come.
To check out his music, go to joejamesmusic.com. That's joejamesmusic.com. And while we still got you on, for up and coming artists out there, I mean, you have experience with not just you making your music and networking in Austin, Texas, but you can claim experience of being close to some of the greatest voices and minds in the music industry with your experience on The Voice. What can you say to up and coming artists, just general basic information of what they can do to keep putting their best foot forward as they are trying to explore the music industry?
Yeah, well, there are a few things, definitely. I mean, one of the biggest things, and I don't think a lot of people talk about, is learn the business of music. because that's extremely important. But after that, I would just say, just be your authentic self, because people can see past that, and they know when someone is authentic or they're not. So just be you. Who cares what anyone else has to say about it? Just be yourself, and also, I mean, for up and coming artists and performers, go to as many open mic nights as you can, and start growing your stage legs and getting out in front of an audience. Trial by fire, just get up there and start playing, and of course practice your crafts while you're at home, but also go to open mic nights and try to, play in front of a crowd.
No, that's good, because it's not just like happy thoughts, but it's the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears behind the scenes that get you to where you're trying to be. Mm-hmm. As far as your short-term goals, obviously you got this amazing single that's coming out July 9th, Street Lights. But beyond that, you did kind of touch on maybe the following year you have a album, but what are some of the short-term goals, as hopefully people can be back on stage soon and get in front of fans while people are getting vaccinated and COVID is hopefully, turning a page?
Sure. I mean, my goal has always just been to keep on growing what I'm doing and getting my message of love and unity and togetherness and hope to more and more people. So that's just been my main goal for a while now. So I don't care about fame. I don't care about fortune. I just want to be a light in the world. If that makes sense. I just want that light. If I'm called to just have the light shine in Austin, then so be it. But I feel like the message that I have, and the message of hope and love and togetherness, I would like it to span even broader than my beautiful home here in Austin.
Well, once again, true honor. I'm Refocus Radio, talking to Joe James, based in Austin, Texas. Go check out the amazing new single that's coming out July 9th. That is Street Lights. You want to check that out. And also go stay updated. Go to his website, joejamesmusic.com. That's joejamesmusic.com. And if they want to follow you on social media, man, how can they hit you up on Instagram?
Yeah, you go to my handle is at Joe James Music, JOJAMES Music. That's both on Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. Well, once again, true honor having you on the show today. Y'all go to the website, joejamesmusic.com, and make sure you go check out the single that is coming out July 9th. That is called Street Lights. And I'm telling you, man, this was a good show. I mean, if you know what it's about, you already know what it's about, man. Go to I'mRefocusRadio.com. And like we say on every single show, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.